Welcome to Is Your Way in Your Way podcast, where your host, Cassandra Crawley-Mayo, helps you break free from obstacles and live life on your terms. Get ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and inspiration. Tune in as we dive into captivating conversations with experts and explore topics that will ignite your passion and drive. Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Let's dive in.
All of my listeners, and I'd like to welcome you to Is Your Way in Your Way podcast. And yeah, I'm your host. My name is Cassandra Crawley-Mayo. And for many of you, you are aware that my book, my number one bestseller, is titled Is Your Way in Your Way. And for those new listeners, let me tell you a little bit about what this podcast is about. It's like you're stuck. It's like things that are holding you back from achieving your dreams, even some of your financial independence. You know, you're stuck because you want to write a book too. You want to get a promotion. You want to get out of a toxic relationship. There's just so many things you want to do, but you are holding yourself back. And we're going to talk about that. We actually talk about topics related to personal improvement, business improvement, even personal business development as well. And so today, I am so excited about this topic. Stop calling it a comfort zone. And who better to talk to us about that is my special guest, Dr. Axa Yox. Good day, doctor. How are you?
Good day. Thank you. Thank you for hosting me. I'm perfect. I'm in Miami, in sunny Miami.
Oh my gosh.
Right before the holiday season.
I know, I can just imagine a little bit. Well, Now I thank you for coming out the orange room. Everybody, she was in the orange room and she's wearing orange today. So
yes,
we
by
know
accident.
She got the memo. So we planned this.
It meant to be, right?
Exactly. Now I'm going to share a little bit about Dr. Axa. And I'm not going to always say doctor, but I might, I'm not sure. But you know what? I want to read her bio a little bit. And what's interesting to me about her is she actually has a scientific background version, and then she has a transformational version. But what I'm going to read today is her transformational version. And I believe you're going to see a little bit or hear a little bit of how her scientific background may fall into this. But let me tell you, she is a dynamic force in personal transformation. Only 2 years ago, she stood in the shadows of her own fears. Now she's living a testament to the power of resilience, self-love, and bold reinvention. This is going to be good. During her journey through adversity, Axa developed an innovative brain rewiring technique to conquer anxiety and procrastination when she shares in her motivational book. Her heartfelt story and practical insights empowers others to overcome challenges, embrace change, and create the lives that you've always imagined. Her book is titled Stop Calling It a Comfort Zone, but Uncomfortable to Be Comfortable. In other words, she called it a fulfilled life, but FOOL, fulfilled life. Wow. Whew. I can't wait to get into this because this is what a lot of it's all about, is our comfort zone. And she's going to explain based on the experience that she's had. So she's got actually qualified to kind of talk about this thing that we call comfort zone. And when this podcast is done, I know you guys are going to say, you know what, I'm getting ready to get out of this comfort zone, whatever I want to call it. But I've been calling it the comfort zone. Now, Dr. Axa, and there was a statement on your website that was intriguing. To me, it said 85% of people admit they live unhappy lives because they're afraid to leave their comfort zone. When I saw that, that was so striking because one of the things I talk about is a nurse, a hospice nurse by the name of Bonnie Ware. And Bonnie Ware made a decision that she wanted to interview individuals who were transitioning. And once she finished her interview, she captured like what I was called common themes. And they were actually five, but there are two that I want to talk about and we're going to talk about. The three was the basic. I wish I didn't work so hard. I wish I would have spent more time with family. I wish I would have traveled. But the two that got me was they said, I wish I could have been more happier. And the other one was, I wish I could have been more true to myself. And that to me just blew me away. And I'm like, happier? What? So I'm like, so let's talk about this for a minute. And so what is happiness for you?
Oh, that's nice question. Interesting. I believe not stop to pretend. That was the first breakthrough for me. Because we learn to pretend so many times. We are so conditioned to be a good girls, and we need to break that. That's the first action of self-love that you can ever do for yourself. Stop being a good girl, because it's a disservice, the best disservice that you can do to yourself. Why you are a good girl? It doesn't mean that you need to be a bad or the poor or the mean person, but the good girl or the good person as not outstanding, you just stop your progress and the growth. Why you don't want to achieve more? Stand out. Because whatever we name and we assign some association to, that's how we perceive the thing. If we say that we are comfortable with being unhappy, unhealthy, and unfulfilled, we signal our brain that being unhappy for us, it's comfortable. We are fine to be unhappy. We are fine to be unhealthy and not living the fulfilled life. And then we are surprised that our brain sabotages us, because we draw the line between where it's fine with us, it's comfortable, and what is the fear of whatever fear you have. Fear of failure, you are not enough, people will not like you. Stop that.
Yes.
Because life is shorter than we ever expect. I believe many people would agree with that.
Yes, absolutely.
So why not to live it to the fullest? Like as many emotions and the feelings, and gather the memories, because at certain point you are not going to have that ability to create the memories, and then that's all that you are left with.
Right. I love that. I love that. And that's why I'm on this mission for us to start living our best life on our terms, because I am on this mission because for me, I don't want any regrets. There was a minister by the name of Dr. Miles Monroe who said the richest place in the world was the graveyard, because that's where so many unmet dreams are. And I am just determined that I'm not going to my grave. Whenever I transition, I want my cup to be running over. I do not want to say, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. So we are definitely in tune. So let me ask you, what was your life like before you embarked on this profound journey of self-discovery? Because I'm certain you're going to talk about, I can't wait to hear about when you hit rock bottom. So
that was a dark place. My life was so structured. I was in academia, so I knew perfectly how I start my day, what's the next, step by step, and how I spend the evenings. Everything was so structured, and I love that, being not in control as being in control, but still a predictability of what is the next to expect. And then I did 12 inventions, and I decided that I'm ready for the real life. I quit academia to start my own business, and I failed miserably. Not bad. I didn't hit the rock bottom. I think I even broke it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I was in really very dark place because I went also through kind of the family issues as I lost my dad, then another life-changing circumstance in our family I wish never happened. My personal trauma, I went through very dark times. And that's the time when I was trying, like hitting the rock bottom and trying to emerge. And every time when I would try to escape that darkness, I would just come back. And I realized that there is something that I'm doing wrong. The next time when I hit the rock bottom, I said, I need to learn the lesson. Otherwise, I'm coming back again and again. And that's where I started to realize what are the habits and the patterns that I follow unconsciously that bring me back to that rock bottom. Because many people leave, they hit the rock bottom, they don't realize it, and they continue living there. Pretending is one of the worst things that we can ever do to ourselves. We pretend we are happy. We pretend we don't want something which we want. We pretend. Because we are so conditioned to be good people.
Right.
It's very beneficial for anyone but yourself. So if there is an option not to live the fulfilled, it doesn't exist, this word. I created kind of for myself because that's what I realized. We live fulfilled life as FOOL, like we fool ourselves. We pretend. We are not very honest to ourselves. So we keep going and we keep living the life, which is so not honest to ourselves. Why we do that? No one knows. Whether it's fear, whether it's environment, the society, which keeps us in this box and it's easier to control us. That's why we have these values that you have to be this, you have to be this, opposed to what serves you.
Right. So, Axa, when you were growing up, did you always have a desire to be in academia, or were you wanted to be that because someone in your family, like in growing up, what was it that you wanted to do? What did you aspire to do? I know when we're young, people say, what do you want to do when you grow up? Like, we don't really know, but yet a little bit we may think of some things like, like I wanted to be an anesthesiologist and, stuff like that, but that never happened. But did you want to always, what was it about academia that was fascinating to you, or was it not fascinating?
The funniest thing that since being a child, I always was telling that I would become anything but a scientist. That was the funniest thing, that I became a scientist. I loved nature since I was a child. I always loved animals, like to work with them. And then I became a physiologist, like to know everything that happens in our body. But I couldn't commit to working with the animals because you have to run the experiments with them. And that was no way for me. That's why I transitioned to microbiology with the focus on genetics, because I really love what is the base of the life, how to read and how to interpret anything. That's why every time when there is anything related to the science, I know the base and it helps me a lot. That's kind of how I found how to rewire our brain and the links that we have. And it is described in my book as well. But through going the stages in my life, though I didn't want to be a scientist, I became the scientist. Then I quit academia, and I never wanted to be a business person because somehow I conditioned myself, because that's what we are taught. Being in business, it's selfish and all the blah, 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 blah things, right? Now I'm going through everything because I realized that, first of all, business is not a bad thing if you serve people. And I love to talk to people. I'm so good with that. I love if I can bring the value to somebody and make them to at least to go one step forward, to help them with whatever issue they have. Why not? we are here to leave not the legacy, because it's a huge word, not for
Yes.
everyone, but
Yes.
still I have that mantra, and I live since many years with that. Do at least one good thing per day. Make one,
That's
just for nothing, like really help one person per day.
yes, per day. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I love that. When you hit rock bottom, and it sounded like you didn't hit it just one time, there was several times. How did you get out of that? And because you talked about a little bit of the science of you, and I told everybody in the beginning that you have a scientific version, and perhaps you use some of that scientific knowledge that you have to rewire your brain. Because, like you indicated, when people hit rock bottom, you have a choice. You can be bitter or you can be better about it, but there was something within yourself that said, you know what? I'm going to rise like um like a phoenix bird, and I'm going to thrive and not just survive. So what did you have to rewire your brain? And if so, how did you do that? How did you change those stories?
Ready to design your dream life? Join Cassandra Crawley Mayo's Create and Design Your Best Life workshop. Break free from self-doubt and obstacles and step into a life of purpose and fulfillment. Click the link in the description to register now. Don't wait. Spaces are limited. Start living your best life today.
Actually, I found the way how to make your comfort zone so uncomfortable that you don't even question whether you want to stay there or not. So that's the difference. Because if you convince yourself that you need to be comfortable to be uncomfortable, the chances that you will sabotage yourself are high enough, because we have all these habits built for decades, and then you just go back to the biochemistry which your body is used to, and it's hard to rewire once you are kind of addicted, because we're addicted to our biochemistry. Let's admit that. That's why if there is a stress, we just right away we go for the fastest release that we build for ourselves as the release method, whatever it is. Like for some people, they go for the funny videos, or they meet friends just to talk, or some people go with the sugar addicted or whatever. But for me, it was more the message that I wanted to bring to the world, especially for women who are in toxic environment, whether it's the relationship, whether it's the work environment, whatever toxic that they tolerate in their life, to stop it. That's my kind of the mission, to help as many women as it's possible, because I was one of them. And that's kind of unfortunate that there are not so many motivational female speakers who can really help each other, like to become a community, to inspire and to push each other, to lift each other. But we are getting more and more to that side, to have more female voices out there who tell their stories, because somehow females are more vulnerable, and we feel ourselves so weak that we don't want to talk about our a story. We don't want to share, because it makes us to be even more weaker, or to be, or maybe we don't want to go back. But more you tell your story, because I was really in very dark place, and that's 100% my mission, to stop and to tell every woman, you are worthy of love. Never tolerate the toxic environment, whether it's work, relationship, whatever. Don't do that to yourself. You are more than enough. just step up and continue. If it doesn't serve you, eliminate from your life. Life
Right.
is so short, and you are so worthy of whatever life will bring, the bright side of the life. Don't limit yourself to whatever you have versus what you can.
Right. And that's kind of where the comfort zone is. You coming from, like our title is Stop Calling It a Comfort Zone. And I believe many of us stay in a lot of things because we're comfortable, right? I mean, or as you said, don't call it that. So stop calling it. So what should we start calling it? Because you're right, toxic environments, toxic relationships, toxic workplaces. It's I always say, other people can look at their situation and tell them what they should do. Like, oh, I wouldn't be in that. I wouldn't do that, but they're not, right? But for those who are in it, how do you work or talk with individuals? We can motivate them and inspire them. How did you get out of your comfort zone?
I just stopped pretending. I
Okay.
admitted to myself that I failed. I failed very bad. And where I was, I didn't want to stay there. The truth frees you. It helps you to free. And it's hard. It's not very easy because, first of all, when you are at particular age, admitting that you kind of failed through so many decades, and you already lived most of the time, more or less. Like,
Right.
I don't know how long I will live, but at least half I already lived. And you are at that point where you can admit that most of the time that you lived, you pretended, you were not honest to yourself, and that's why you failed. But you have the choice to change. How? You need to really realize what is the bigger picture that you want for yourself. If what you have at this particular point is what you want in the future, then continue. If you are unhappy, you really need to admit to yourself. It's not very easy. It's going to be hard because we are so caught up in our brain. We keep pretending, we keep comforting ourselves. No, that's okay. Or, okay, one piece of the cake, it's okay. It will not change. So we compromise so many things which are not serving us versus what needs to be really done. And it's not very easy. But what do we compromise? This is what we tolerate. What we tolerate, we choose. If you admit that I don't like this, but you tolerate that, do you choose that?
Right.
Unconsciously, you choose not to change it. Don't get me wrong. There are some things that we cannot change. So we have to distinguish what we can control, what we cannot control. If you can change something, then change it. If there is like weather, we cannot affect the weather. So you cannot complain about the weather. Just forget about. We cannot complain about the politics, environment, or anything. But we can change what we are able to change. And that's what we need to do because life is really shorter than you expect. Maybe per 24 hours, we live 4 or 5 hours a day. The rest is like we sleep, we do the things that we cannot skip and blah, blah, blah. So per day, 24 hours, it's not 24 hours. We have only, let's say 5, 6, 7, depending on the person.
That's right.
Hours to experience per day. And we just waste that time. Why do we do that? Because we are so conditioned that those are the mandatory, the least to do the least we have, then we don't have the time for ourselves. You need to prioritize the self-love versus self-sabotaging. And trying to be perfect. So I found for myself to be, maybe for somebody else. So are you trying to be perfect, or you just created the fancy word to not to admit to yourself that you procrastinate? Because if you are trying to make it perfect, first of all, it's impossible. You
Right.
just postponed executing, right?
Yeah.
So if we keep creating the fancy words to mask the actions which are not serving us, we still stay in that loop of self-sabotage, not progressing, not living the fulfilled life. And everything starts from just sit with yourself, have a
Right.
pen and paper, and start to write, draw, whatever helps you. I always go with the boxes. That helps me
Mhm.
a lot of times. Like I just draw the boxes, I put the name for the boxes, and then I go with the arrows, and I just draw the bigger picture that I want to have. So where I am and where I want to be. And then
Right.
I just figure out what are the paths to achieve what I want to have. But you have to admit the negative sides as well. If you just keep ignoring, they don't disappear, they exist. You cannot pretend that they are not there, because if you need to go from 1 to 10 and you say, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, and you ignore 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6 doesn't care that you ignore them.
Right.
They will just come and hit you. They will come and
Yeah.
hit you. You ignore me because you don't like me. I'll hit you even more, because you
Right.
have to sit, you have to solve the problem. And
Right.
more problem you solve, stronger you become. Because for me, actually, I never was scared to fail. I don't know why, to be honest. For me, the definition of failure always was not trying. So
Okay.
if I try, I was never scared to be embarrassed. I have higher tolerance of that. I can fail. I can ask the dumb questions, and I can do the stupidest thing in the environment, and people would be embarrassed for me. And I was like, why? Why?
Right.
Don't take yourself so seriously.
Oh, right. Right. That's
Live it differently. Like bring the energy, bring the drive, become the disruptor, like stand out, show what is
That's right.
possible.
That's
Don't
right.
take things so seriously.
I know.
It doesn't serve.
Right. It's like give yourself grace. A few things you said is one that has been very helpful for me is control. If like you indicated the weather, if I can't control it, if that sits well with me if it's something I can't control. And like you talked about politics and what happened with the election and all that. I'm like, well, I can't control that, but I did my part. And another thing you talk about is like perfection, procrastination, and I'm a perfectionist. I'm really not, but that's been my thing, and I've admitted it, and I'm okay with it. And when I'm trying to be perfect, it's something that says, okay, Miss Perfection. So it helps me get things done, because I will dwell on something for hours until I can get it just right, and then I've wasted my day. And so I see that it's kind of like it I do things too, so it for protection, trying to protect myself. So, I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to do that. Like I use comfort zone. Well, uh, I may be embarrassed, as you indicated, but you don't get embarrassed. Like, I can't do that because what they may say or what they may do, so it has to be, for me, intentional. Like we're talking about rewiring your brain. Like you use a couple things if you can't control it, so be it. It's no such thing as perfection. It's no perfect person. So know that, get over it, and do the best that you can. You talked about self-sabotage. It's like protecting yourself because you think that you can't do something. So we're in this mode, like you said, everything has to be right. And it's no right. Well, lately I'm wondering when you say things have to be right, it's all about your perspective, I would say. And what I mean by that is I want to use, I'm reluctant about using this example, and I want to I'm just going to say it. It's just like the time when the guy shot the CEO of United Health Care, and there's some people that think it was great, like he's a hero, and then there's some like, but you don't need to kill anybody, and it's all about, and then we get into this tizzy, like, how can they do that? Why would somebody do that? So that helps minimize my stress because I don't know why. I believe what he did was wrong. You don't kill anybody to just get to what you want. So I think it's like you talked about the mindset and rewiring the brain. And another thing you said is you said motivation does not work, right? Like to motivate somebody. So if motivation doesn't work, what does work?
I think moving from the fear is the best motivation I found for myself, because if you are in your comfort zone and you signal to your brain that being unhappy is comfortable for you, the motivation will never work for you because you are comfortable. Okay. You admitted to yourself that the level where you live, it's fine with you. So the motivation will not inspire you. It will just go with the spikes. You will go up, and down. Discipline sometimes brings the burnout, and let's admit it, because for many people, we are not disciplined since we were kids, and it's hard for us to follow the discipline. What worked for me, that's all that I can say. It's just knowing that where I was, I didn't want to be in that spot. And moving anywhere was better. Okay. Failing was fine with me because I knew that unless I fail, I will never learn what are my limits, what I'm capable of, and what the world has to offer me. Because this is one topic that I love to explore as well, because life is unfair and we have to accept that, right? But we talk about the unfairness of the life only when it's not in our favor. That's true. If everything is in our favor, we never say, oh, life is unfair to somebody. We would say, but we worked hard for that. Right. And it's good because life cannot be fair. Imagine you are as a student, you studied a lot, and in the morning you came for the exam and the professor decided that life has to be fair. And then he will just put A for everyone. You who worked hard, studied hard, and then somebody who was partying, never went for the classes and blah, 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 right? Or if we worked hard for the promotion and then somebody who didn't, they come. So when there is an unfairness, you can use it as unfair advantage for yourself because there is no evenness, like sameness. You can stand out. This is how you can use the unfairness in the life to stand out and to change whatever is comfortable, uncomfortable. Play, name whatever you want. We limit ourselves even if with the words. How do we call the comfort zone? Like how to call it? Call whatever you want. No one limits you, right? You have the vocabulary. Open the dictionary and choose the word, whatever you want. Call it whatever. is fine with you, which will serve you and help you with the progress. Motivation doesn't work for me. For me, moving away from where I was worked for me because it was a nudge. I didn't want to stay there. I didn't want to stay in my so-called comfort zone.
Right.
And that's what helped me. So just use your imagination. Don't limit yourself. And when you spoke about taking life or killing, how many people we have, they live in toxic relationship. The person really takes your life, your energy, your life, and everything. But we somehow don't call it the person to be a murderer, right? Because the murder is just only simply like when you murder somebody.
Right.
Why we don't call when people take your life slowly, like really mean to you, the toxic relationship? We tolerate that, but we don't tolerate when somebody kills the other person, right?
Right.
And there is one thing that I want to mention as well. So fear of failure is not that we are scared to fail, as we are scared that there is no one to catch us. So it's not that you are, it's when you admit to yourself, like there is no one close enough for you, like to be there for you, even if you failed.
Right.
To love you, like when you are at the lowest point, that's when we are fearful of failure.
Exactly.
If you have the person who loves you at your ups and downs,
they'll be there for you.
They'll be there for you. Then you are not scared to fail.
Right. You know, I like this stop calling it your comfort zone. So what I'm hearing and what I'm understanding is, like, my listeners, there are certain things that they want to do, but they're not. They can't. They're stuck. And many times they're stuck because of those limiting beliefs, or but yet what you're saying, what I'm hearing is, but they are unhappy. They're unhappy in that job, or they're unhappy in that relationship, but they're in it because it's comfortable. Like, I get a paycheck every 2 weeks or whatever. So I'd rather so they have to make a decision. Would I rather stay in something that I don't like, that doesn't make me happy, or should I get out? It's like what you're saying is they have to make that decision. How unhappy are you in that decision? Like for me, like, I wanted to write a book, and it was me that was stopping me from writing the book. And what happened for me is I was uncomfortable. And did I want to be uncomfortable all for the rest of my life, knowing that that was something that I should be doing, because it was gripping me. And if I didn't do it, it would still be gripping me. So I guess it determines, like you said, stop calling it a comfort zone. You need to start thinking about whether is this something that's going to make you happy. And that's why my first question was, what's happiness? Is it going to make you rather be in something to make you happy or unhappy? So is that what we're talking about here? Stop calling it the comfort zone. Because I'm trying to figure out how can our conversation help somebody get unstuck and start doing what it is that they feel that they're ordained to do.
I believe if you are unhappy enough, you will move.
Okay.
It depends also on the level of tolerance. Obviously, some people don't tolerate the tiny things. Some people tolerate, they have the big, like the more tolerance. But still, if you hit the rock bottom, you will move for sure. And if you are there for work, for the paycheck, there are so many other ways to get the money. So that's not why you are stuck with the job. No, you have to admit to yourself why you are working at that work, because you think that you are not good enough to do something else.
Mm.
You are scared to take other risks because there are so many other ways to bring the money, to earn the money. It's not, you can go and sweep the floor and be
Uh-huh.
happier versus to be in the office in the toxic relationship
Uh-huh.
with your coworkers and feel that toxic environment every single day. So
Mhm.
why you are doing what you are doing? And it's not the as surface answer as you might even imagine.
Right.
Why you are doing what you are doing. If you are in that environment simply because you are scared to take the risk and to change, so uncertainty is more fearful for you versus the toxic environment. This is your dilemma. Like, uncertainty is your problem. If that's
Mhm.
the problem, then you have to raise your tolerance to uncertainty.
Right.
And that's something that you can do 100%. You have to make certainty so boring for you that you would crave for uncertainty.
Mhm. Okay.
Everything can be changed. You have to just find the way how to come to the point where you would admit to yourself, you will draw the line and say, that's enough. Enough is enough. When is enough is enough, right? We
Right.
all been there. Enough is enough. Yeah, I don't continue. The next day you find yourself doing the same shit again and again. Sorry for my language. But again and again, sabotaging ourselves, going for the toxic work environment, blah, blah, blah. This
Right.
blah, blah, blah becomes our life. And
Right.
unfortunately, we live that every single day without stopping and admitting, I don't want this anymore. But we have so many daily routine and the responsibilities before our family and all that we cannot even admit to yourself. Why do you go to that toxic job? If
That's
it
right.
is only paycheck, find other way to get the money. It's
Mhm.
not the paycheck. That's not true.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
not true.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Let me ask you, I want to talk about, you just talked about anybody's behavior. Your biggest hack on how to ready anybody's behavior, and why would one want to? You made that statement. What does that mean? The biggest hack on how to ready anybody's behavior.
It's why people do what they do.
Okay.
You have to understand what is the motive behind that.
Okay.
The real motive, not like the same with the paycheck.
Right.
Why people do what they do. It's not the money. It's
Okay.
their tolerance towards the unknown, not
Mhm.
taking the risk. Why you sabotage? You don't go to the toxic environment simply because it's you tolerate that. No,
Mhm.
your tolerance towards the uncertainty is higher versus you already know what to expect, even the worst, but you know the worst. Where is the limit that worst is? Versus if you cross that limit, you don't know what expect there. But you have to trust yourself first. What is the motive? Why people do what they do?
Mhm.
Once you find out what moves the person, what is behind their behavior, you will know why people do. If I know that you value the certainty the most, then
Mhm.
I would know what is your next step,
Okay.
because you would do everything just to meet your need and to be certain, even if it is not serving you, but you are certain. That's all that I can experience. And
Okay.
it is again the fear of failure. And it is not, you are not fearful to fail versus that there is no one to catch you.
That's good. That's good. Let
So
me talk.
normally everything is kind of the loop, because by nature we are not designed to be happy. By nature we were designed to stay safe. So our biochemistry versus it's good or bad. It's secondary versus it
Mm-hmm.
is very predictable, because we
Right.
have only particular amount of the biochemical molecules like hormones and neurotransmitters, and they trigger particular emotions, or the emotion they trigger. So the level for our biochemistry shift, we have 3 levels. So the first is we shift with the hormones. It is natural shift.
Yeah.
And no one can influence that because nature designed to keep us safe. Then there is a second level, which is neurotransmitters. When our body assesses the situation and it starts to produce neurotransmitters to give you the information how you have to react. And this is the link towards the second level and the third level, which is again the neurotransmitters. This is where you can rewire your brain, because once you assess the situation and you know, let's say you have the negative emotions because you don't like it, you still have the option to change how you perceive the situation and start to synthesize, like to produce, influence your body to shift towards positive assessment. And the how to rewire your brain between these 3 layers, which are designed by nature. Every person goes through that. Is the first, which is the reaction of the body as the hormones. No one can influence that. The second is neurotransmitters. Once you assess the situation and you know it's not positive, it's negative, I'm scared, I'm fearful, and blah, blah, blah. And then you have the option, okay, I'm fearful, but I choose to act, to execute, to change something. And between those 2 layers, this is where the magic happens. Because once you break that and you stop feeding this, once you have the negative, stop it right away and start to multiply the positive as many times. And at the same time, you just shrink the negative so much and you feed the positive so well. It starts to nourish and to flourish all the possible things. Then you start to replace the negative. Then you go from your hormones directly to the positive. You are like, okay, I know that emotion. I'm fine.
Yeah. So are you saying, in other words, change the narrative in your mind, right? I mean, It's kind of like I always use myself for an example. Now I'm an entrepreneur, right? But I've always worked in corporate. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. And then I'm like, yeah, I can. I did the same thing in corporate. I was just working for somebody. So now I'm working for myself. And I'll switch like I remember talking to somebody and you're having a down day or you're mulling over something negative and you say to yourself, how would I rather feel about this situation? And then you start thinking about, well, how would I rather feel about this situation? I'd rather feel real good. I'd rather feel happy. I'd rather feel that I'm in a good place. I'd rather feel that I am doing what I'm ordained to do. So therefore, because of that, I get more energy. I'm happy. I'm serving. So if I think like that, then that negative stuff goes away because I'm so busy thinking about the positive, what it is, how I really want to feel about a situation. So that's kind of what you're saying. I believe, and you will definitely correct me if I'm wrong, is we talked about rewiring the brain.
Yeah, you need to, for me, once you admit the situation and you see as it is, it serves you. Because then you have the option to react, because being optimistic or pessimistic is the choice.
Right.
But being realistic is mandatory. You have to be, because if there is a fire and you stay there and you are optimistic, no, it will go away. It will not go away. You have to move. So being realistic is mandatory. You have to know where you are, what you are capable of. And first of all, whatever you know and you can do, it's not limited. You still can change something, learn something new. You didn't know how to write and read before, right? You went for the first grade and you started from A.
Right.
Disagree. He's like, I disagree with that.
That's
I
right.
have my own opinion. So you know this, but don't limit yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There are more things. Once you failed, failure is just only the limit, like the border of what you knew and what is new for you. And
Mm-hmm.
you choose, you stay on this side with what you knew and you are
Mm-hmm.
kind of expert, or you extend your expertise and you
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, now I want to try something else.
Yes.
You try, you don't like, you go back, and then you try something else. You
Right.
try something else. I was in academia for 15 years. I was very successful. But then I
Mm-hmm.
started to learn business. And then I realized that I'm quite good because I anyway love to talk to people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I was trying myself in sales and the business and the marketing simply because I wanted to expand my expertise and to
Right.
see,
That's
can I
right.
do that? Because I
Exactly.
was like, I'm from academia, I don't know the sales, and then I cut myself and I was like, you limit yourself.
Yes. That's
And
right.
you never tried. How you can say that you don't know how to do if you didn't try?
Right. Right. So look, is there so and this is my last question because we can talk and talk and talk. This 30-day technique. Is there a 30-day technique that gave what you say 100 successful professionals to break free from their comfort zone?
Yeah. So actually, the technique is this. So um, if you have your issue is the fear, like fear of unknown, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm,
once you go through the technique of experiencing the situation when you are fearful, but
mhm.
the fixed fearful, you still raise your tolerance because your biochemistry changes. Every time when you have that feeling of the fear, your emotions, they trigger the change in your biochemistry.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
first time when you are fearful, obviously you step back because that's your natural instinct to
Right.
protect you, to keep you safe. But step by step, when you go for the fixed, fearful emotions, you still change your biochemistry, and step by step, gradually, you adapt, you raise your tolerance towards the fearful biochemistry. And next time when you experience that fearful situation, your body is already accustomed to that biochemistry. So you don't go back directly to your so-called comfort zone to protect yourself because you already experienced versus 30 days, those
Mhm.
fixed, fearful biochemistry, still
Okay.
your tolerance raises towards that.
Okay. Okay.
So via flipping the certainty and uncertainty and experiencing something that you are trying to avoid, then
Mhm.
you raise your tolerance, and that's how you change you adapt to the emotions that you need to progress.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
you are scared to feel fearful,
Mhm.
then put yourself in the situation where you can experience that emotions, but you have to do it gradually all
Okay.
the time. If
Okay.
you skip, you will not adapt yourself. So that's
Okay.
the technique. Step by step, every single day, go for the fixed emotions which will serve you in the future.
Okay. So for my listeners, for those who want to change jobs, get out of a toxic relationship, want to write a book, want to start a podcast, something that they're, like I indicated earlier, their soul is pulling them to do something, but they're just stuck in doing it. So because of probably the fear of the unknown. So what they need to do, so what you're saying is they need to identify what it is that they want to do that will make them happy, correct?
They have to, so simply put, it's You have to make your life so known, so certain that you would be sick of certainty. Then
Okay.
you will move, because
Okay.
once you start, we have the need for the known and unknown, right?
Uh-huh.
If you keep your life so certain,
Right.
your body will crave for something
Certain.
new. Otherwise, you are bored. So
Okay.
make your life so certain, everything, like cut every variety which brings that emotions of a new. Then you will bore yourself to nearly death, and you will move and start
Mm.
to experience the new emotions which will serve you in the future. Let's say you are scared, right? Then you
Mhm.
have to go for the fixed emotions which will trigger this fear
Mhm.
and raise gradually your tolerance.
Mm.
I hope I
Okay.
explained it uh,
Yeah. Yeah, I was
as
trying to get
clear.
like if somebody wanted to get out of a toxic relationship, let's use that example
Mhm.
and the technique you would use for that. Walk that person that's listening through that situation to help them get unstuck.
First of all, 100% you need to identify why you stay in that toxic relationship,
Okay.
because there is even new term which exists. It's economic marriage. If you stay in the relationship because of the financial
Mhm.
perspective, then you have to find a way to become financially independent. If you
Okay.
stay in the relationship because somehow, I don't know how, you still love the person and you are addicted to toxic relationship, then you have to work your way out to understand why you do what you do. What need do you accomplish with staying there? If it is certainty, if it is, what is that? What do you meet by that?
Mhm.
What is the need that you meet by that? Staying
Mm.
with the person.
Okay.
Mostly, I bet 80-90% is the financial situation. That's
Mhm.
why people don't quit. So
Mhm.
find your way to make the money, to
Mhm.
become financially independent, to work your way out of the relationship, because
Mhm.
it's not worth it to stay there. It's
Mhm.
scary, but it's worth it. It's
Mhm.
scary.
Mhm.
I will not say no, that's not scary. It's scary. Every single day you wake up, when you are self-employed, you know yourself. You
Mhm.
don't, there is no certainty in your life, especially if you are in the very beginning, but you bet on yourself, you trust yourself that you will work your way out, versus staying there and then within, after 10 years, regrets, full
Yeah.
of regrets, and there is nearly nothing that you can change anymore, because you, together with staying in your toxic relationship, please remember one thing: we age, we don't
Mhm.
become younger.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you age. So if
Mhm.
you age, at least age in the happy way, in the
Yeah.
happy place.
Right. Right. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay. How can my listeners get in touch with you? Because some of them may want to talk to you about them being stuck, and you can help them get unstuck by using that technique. How could they get in touch with you?
They can contact me on Facebook or LinkedIn. I'm very active there. And also, my book is on Amazon, and I have the landing page. They can get the book, by the way, 90% off
Oh,
at the
really?
moment. Yeah, it's the seasonal, seasonal kind of the sales, to
Okay.
try to help as many people as it's possible, because
Oh,
better society and healthier and happier society will live, we all benefit from that.
absolutely. Wow. That was good. And guys, you got to get that book now. It's a seasonal sale. And
Yes, seasonal sales.
yeah, and Asa, I want to thank you for your time, for your wisdom that you've shared. It's even helped myself. I'm thinking about what am I not doing because I'm comfortable, and I'm going to get to that place where I'm going to get sick and tired of being that way, and that
Yes,
way
please.
right, and then I'm going to move forward. So thanks again, and my listeners, please share this podcast. If you like the podcast, please subscribe and hit like. And again, this podcast will be on all social media platforms. And stop calling it a comfort zone, guys, and do what you are ordained to do, and you will have even more meaning in your life. Thanks a bunch. Dr. Axa, thank you so much.
Thanks
And
for
God
hosting me.
bless you all.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you've been enjoying our empowering conversations, make sure you don't miss out on future episodes of Is Your Way in Your Way podcast. Stay in the loop with all the latest episodes. Join our mailing list over at CassandraCrawley.com. And before you go, hit that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe now. Until next time, let's get ready to live your best life.